Walking along the old transit lines near the depot earlier today, I found myself watching the way the maintenance crews were clearing out the debris from the tracks. It's a rhythmic, steady kind of work that most people never see, but without it, the whole city of Charlotte would grind to a halt in a matter of days. For 30 years, I was the one making sure those crews had exactly what they needed to keep the system running. And I learned a long time ago that you can't just spray a little water on a rusted rail and expect it to be new again. You have to understand the chemistry of the metal, the friction of the wheels, and the integrity of the entire structure. I'm 72 years old now, and I've spent the last decade realizing that we treat our own arteries with less respect than we treat a city bus. We've been told for years that our blood vessels are just like kitchen pipes, and if they get clogged up with plaque, it's just a matter of grease sticking to the walls. We're told to cut the fat, take a pill, and hope for the best. But I'm here to tell you that this way of thinking is a dangerous myth that's keeping us in a state of constant risk. Your arteries aren't plastic tubes. They are living, breathing, responding tissues, and the plaque inside them isn't just a bit of old cholesterol. It's a battlefield where your immune system is fighting a war it's currently losing. In our conversation today, I want to pull back the curtain on 3 specific truths that change the way I look at my own body. First, I'm going to show you why your plaque is actually an immune response gone wrong, and how those white blood cells end up getting trapped in your vessel walls like a bus stuck in a muddy ditch. Second, I'm going to explain the hidden mechanism of reverse cholesterol transport, which is the only way your body actually pulls that junk back out of the pipes. And third, I'm going to give you the exact details of the daily meal I've adopted, a targeted combination of 4 specific ingredients that acts like a cellular maintenance crew, clearing the way for a heart that can beat without a struggle. I remember when my daughter Danielle first brought this up to me during a Sunday dinner. She's always been the one to push me, bringing over research that her nutrition team was studying. She looked at me and said, "Dad, you think you're unclogging your heart by eating bland chicken and avoiding salt, but you're missing the actual chemistry of how the damage happens." She explained that plaque isn't just a layer of fat, it's inflammation. It's what happens when your LDL cholesterol gets rusted or oxidized, and your immune cells try to clean it up, only to get overwhelmed and turn into what the doctors call foam cells. It made me think of the cleaning crews back at the depot. If a spill happened on the shop floor and the crew didn't have the right solvents, they'd try to mop it up, but the mop would just get heavy and useless. Eventually, the crew would just be standing there, stuck in the mess they were supposed to be cleaning. That's exactly what happens inside your arteries. Your white blood cells, the macrophages, eat that rusted cholesterol until they become so bloated and sick that they die right there inside the vessel wall. They don't leave. They just pile up, creating a mountain of debris that we call plaque. Most of us have been normalized into thinking that once that plaque is there, it's permanent. We think we just have to manage it until the day it eventually ruptures and causes a crisis. But control begins with what you stop normalizing, and I had to stop normalizing the idea that my arteries were destined to turn into concrete. I learned that there is a way to tell those immune cells to spit out the cholesterol and get back to work. There's a way to activate a protein called ABCA1. I call it the eject button, that actually pulls the junk out of the vessel wall and sends it back to the liver to be cleared out. This is where the meal comes in. It's not a diet and it's not a cleanse. It's a maintenance protocol. The first part of this meal is the signal. I started using arugula as the base for almost everything I eat. It's a bitter leafy green that most people ignore, but it's packed with nitrates. Now, I'm not talking about the nitrates in processed meat. I'm talking about the ones that your body converts into nitric oxide. That gas is the dispatcher for your vessels. It tells them to relax, to open up, and to stay slippery so nothing can stick to the walls. I discovered something about this process that really surprised me, though. It turns out that this conversion doesn't just happen in your stomach. It starts in your mouth. You have specific bacteria on your tongue that do the work for you. I used to be a man who used that strong antiseptic mouthwash every morning, thinking I was being healthy. but I realized I was killing the very workers that were keeping my heart alive. I stopped using that mouthwash and started letting those greens mix with my natural saliva. Within a few weeks, I felt a warmth in my hands and feet I hadn't felt in years. My blood was finally flowing through pipes that weren't constricted by tension. The second part of the meal is the fuel for that eject button. I started using high phenolic extra virgin olive oil, the kind that has a real bite to it. Gloria used to buy the mild stuff because it was cheaper, but I learned that the burn you feel in the back of your throat when you swallow good olive oil is a compound called oleocanthal. That compound is what actually upregulates that ABCA1 protein. It's the hand that pushes the eject button. It tells those bloated foam cells to release the cholesterol back into the bloodstream so it can be hauled away. I think about my friend Harold sometimes. Harold was a man who followed the low-fat rules religiously. He ate his dry toast and his steamed vegetables, and he thought he was doing the right thing. But Harold's HDL, the good cholesterol that's supposed to be the transport vehicle, was always low because he didn't have enough healthy fats to keep it functional. He was trying to run a transit system without any buses. He ended up with severe calcification in his arteries because his body had no way to move the debris. I'm 72, and I've learned that a life stable builds a body more stable, but you can't have stability if you're starving your heart of the very tools it needs to repair itself. The third part of the meal is the rust protector. I started adding fresh pomegranate seeds to my arugula. Pomegranates have these unique compounds called punicalagins that bind directly to your LDL particles. It's like putting a protective coating on a piece of metal before it goes out into the humidity. It prevents the cholesterol from rusting in the first place. If the cholesterol doesn't oxidize, your immune system doesn't see it as a threat, and the whole cycle of plaque formation never even starts. I've seen my own inflammatory markers drop significantly since I made pomegranates a daily habit. And the final piece is the director, vitamin K2. I learned that cholesterol isn't the only thing clogging us up, it's calcium. As we get older, and as that plaque sits there, our bodies try to scab it over with calcium. Our arteries literally start turning into bone. It's a process I saw in the old pipes at the depot all the time. Mineral buildup that eventually made the metal so brittle it would crack under the slightest pressure. Vitamin K2, which I get from aged cheeses like Gouda or from fermented natto, activates a protein that pulls that calcium out of your arteries and directs it back into your bones where it belongs. My son Marcus is always worried about my long-term protection, and he was skeptical when I told him I was eating more cheese and oil to save my heart. But the numbers don't lie. I've watched my own pulse pressure narrow, and my energy levels climb back to where they were 20 years ago. I'm not just managing a disease, I'm remodeling my vessels. I'm giving my heart a clear road to run on, and I'm doing it one meal at a time. Most people wait for a scare before they take this seriously. They wait until they're sitting in a consultant's office, looking at an image of their own heart and realizing it looks like a piece of concrete. I don't want that for you. I want you to be the supervisor of your own machinery before the breakdown happens. I want you to understand that every bite you take is either building up the plaque or helping to haul it away. I'm going to head back into the kitchen now. Gloria is already getting the arugula ready, and I can hear the sound of her prepping the pomegranate. It's a simple routine, a quiet kind of maintenance, but it's the reason I can still walk the neighborhoods of Charlotte and still play with my 3 grandkids without a second thought. I'm 72 years old, and I'm still in motion because I finally learned how to take care of the pipes. Take care of your vessels, neighbor. They're the only ones you've got, and they've been working for you every second of every day since you were born. It's time you gave them the solvents and the signals they need to stay clear. I'll be right here, still tending to my own engine, and still grateful for the chance to share this road with you. I'll see you next time. Stay safe, stay informed, and keep moving forward. Before I go, just remember, you aren't just a collection of numbers on a monitor. You are a living system, and you have the power to change the way that system functions. Don't let the old myths keep you stuck. Start the repair today. Talk soon.